Hello, friends. Kenny Graves here with GodSword. Zechariah. The prophecy of Zechariah continues with chapter 5. It's a short, and I personally find it to be a strange vision God gives to his prophet Zechariah here in chapter 5, verse 1. Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, and behold, a flying scroll. He said unto me, what seest thou? So he's still guided by this angelic messenger. And the angel continues to ask him things like, so what are you seeing? And I answered, I see a flying scroll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof 10 cubits. I see a very large flying scroll. So the scroll is not rolled up, it's open. Zechariah can say it's like about 15 feet wide, 20 feet long, flying. And then he said to me, this is the curse, goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off. As on this side, according to it. And everyone that sweareth shall be cut off, as on that side, according to it. On this side and that side. So the scroll is written, and on it is the written curse. And there is on one side the prohibition against stealing, the other side, the prohibition against swearing or using, as it were, the Lord's name in vain. So someone pointed out that the whole of the law, the two tables of the law, are represented by the two sides of the scroll. That there's a flying scroll with both the prohibition and then the curse written on it, on either side. Two-sided, and as it flies, it's flipping, and it is seen by the prophet in his vision. Verse 4, he says, I will bring it forth, saith the Lord of hosts, and it shall enter the house of the thief, and into the house of him that sweareth falsely by my name, and it shall remain in the midst of his house, and shall consume it with the timber thereof and the stones thereof. So this is God showing the prophet Zechariah that he's going to deal in judgment in such a way as to purge this wickedness from the people of God, the theft and the irreverence with regard to the name Yahweh, swearing falsely. God said he would deal with it in a form of judgment that will purge the land of it. And then he continues in verse 5, then the angel that talked with me went forth and said unto me, lift up now thine eyes and see, what is this that goeth forth? What did he say? And I said, what is it? And he said, this is an ephah that goeth forth. He said, moreover, this is their resemblance throughout all the earth. What is an ephah? It's a basket. It's a measurement. It's a unit of measurement, but it's also a basket. He sees a basket, as it were. And behold, there was lifted up a talent of lead. It's a disc, kind of like a weight on the top. And it was lifted up, this talent of lead. This was all normal, sort of elements of commerce. But in this commerce, there was theft and falsely swearing in the name of the Lord, in the name of Yahweh, not fitting for the covenant people. And there was lifted up a talent of lead, and this is a woman that sitteth in the midst of the ephah. And he said, "This is wickedness." And he cast it into the midst of the ephah, and he cast the weight of lead upon the mouth thereof. The lid was lifted. What was in it? A woman is depicted. Now, you'll forgive me, dear ladies, but in these sort of prophetic visions, when God would communicate the concept of either beauty or evil, seductive beauty, it may be, as it is here, depicted or portrayed in prophetic vision as a woman. A woman, by God's design, was intended to be beautiful, and she is. Indeed, there's nothing like it. Woman in all of creation. It is interesting to read Genesis chapter 6, when the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful. There's a beauty to femininity that is so different. It's unlike anything else in the whole universe. And it was seen. When they saw, they took. And that's another story. But here in this vision, the prophet sees in this prophetic vision, in the baskets, under the lead, a woman. And he's told this is wickedness. Now, I'm told by scholars, educated commentators, like my brother David Guzik, who points out that the Hebrew word that we translate wickedness in our English Bible is, in fact, a feminine word. It is a word that sort of connotes a seductive kind of evil. This is wickedness. And it is dealt with. Its lid is cast back onto the top of it. It's closed up. In verse 9, then lifted I up mine eyes and looked. Behold, there came out two women, and the wind was in their wings, for they had wings like the wings of a stork. Now, this would be a picture of beauty, I suppose, if it had not been for the fact that the stork is considered unclean. That God reveals that the stork is an unclean bird, and therefore wings like a stork may be then understood as spirits, seductive spirits, with these wings. And what do these two women do? They have the wind in their wings, and they lifted up the ephah between the earth and the heaven. Then said I to the angel that talked with me, whither do these bear the ephah? Where are they taking the basket? They lifted it up, and they're flying off with it. And he said unto me, to build it an house in the land of Shinar, and it shall be established and set there upon our own base. On our own base, the description then is, in this vision, is the basket will return to where it came from, the land of Shinar, Babylon. And there, it'll be idolized. There, it'll be given a base, like a great idol. In short, it would seem that in this prophetic vision, God is showing Zechariah that what they came out of Babylon with, that worldliness, that seductive woman, I believe it's the same one described by Solomon in Proverbs chapter 7. The contrast of two women in Proverbs chapter 7 as he writes to a son. One is seductive. She is the wisdom of this world. She is worldliness. But the other, chapter 8, is the woman wisdom. There's a beauty to wisdom. And she calls out, and she'll make you great. I see in this message, this prophetic message that God gave to Zechariah, that God is going to send that which came out of Babylon back to where it came from. The idolatry would not continue with God's people. The worldliness, it is going to be dealt with, carried away. And it's a short chapter, a mere 11 verses, a strange depiction to me, and yet I believe that is the best interpretation. Something that came out of Babylon is being sent back to where it came from. It's an encouraging word in the sense that God would deal with the worldliness of his covenant people that have returned, the exiles. I've certainly experienced in my own life God dealing with such things that God seeing to it that it's taken exactly how to understand the depiction of two women with wings, great wings like the wings of a stork. I don't know. It's beyond me, but I do know that something is carried away to a place where it is set on a base and it's worshipped. This much I understand, and I then gladly pass on to you. There's our study for today. We'll continue in our next study with chapter 6. And I appreciate all of you taking the time to follow along. And may the Word of God produce a response in our hearts that just causes us to receive and meditate on it and apply it. All right. Any questions or comments? Send them to ccbangor.org. Grace and peace to you all.